Murder in the morning from the Hidden Killers podcast.
Well, the Delphi murder case is obviously one that breaks hearts. In this earlier week, meaning last week, there was a leak of something very disturbing that came out. Images of the two little girls who were murdered and the crime scene itself. Why this leak occurred at this moment in time is anyone's guess, but it was not good. What would the repercussions for such a leak be? Well, turns out far greater than I think any of us expected. The defense attorneys now for Richard Allen, same defense attorneys who took Richard Allen by the hand and led him down a road that said, we're going to say Odinists did this, not you. Those ones, they are no longer the defense attorneys for Richard Allen. So Richard Allen is now sitting in a maximum security prison in solitary confinement when he really should just be in the local jail and has no representation at this exact
Does it feel like
time.
This poor man has just been scapegoated for some reason?
100%. I mean, if he ever does get out, the psychological effects of this man that he's going to deal with it'll take forever. I mean, it's obviously has ruined his life. And if he's guilty, it should. But is he? And I think that's the real big question, because I don't know how you're going to get justice when these bizarre things that are beyond Richard Allen's control keep happening.
Yeah.
The defense attorneys, go ahead.
As Americans, we have a right to a speedy trial and a fair and speedy trial. And this poor man has just been rotting. He's already doing a sentence for something he hasn't been convicted of.
Yeah, and should be noted, there's not a lot of solid evidence pointing him to being the actual man either. In a startling development, the defense attorneys Andrew Baldwin and Bradley Rozzi announced their withdrawal from representing Richard Allen, the man accused of the brutal killing of his two teenage girls in 2017. The decision comes in the wake of a significant leak of sensitive information, including graphic crime scene photos. And here's the big part. Where did the crime scene photos come from? The defense attorney's office.
How does that happen? I mean, how?
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
You can have, let's say you have things that shouldn't be out in the public, and then they get out in the public. Somebody had to physically do that. Things don't just fall out, Somebody has to actually put them out there. How did this happen?
That's a good question. The way that it was worded in one of the affidavits was that it was a friend of the defense attorneys that they trusted that somehow got their hands on this material, and then it got out. But why? Why did it get out? And the question and the person who would be able to answer that from the defense circle has killed themselves.
Oh, God.
So, yes. Delphi murders took place over 6 years ago, saw the tragic deaths of Abby Williams, who was 13, and Libby German, who was only 14. The two girls were found murdered on a hiking trail just outside their hometown of Delphi. Richard Allen, who's 51, was charged with the murders in October of 2022 after forensic evidence linked a .40 caliber round found at the crime scene to the gun he owned. And it should be noted it was an unspent bullet, meaning it was not ever fired out of a gun.
Oh, boy.
And these children were not shot. Judge Fran Gull, during a scheduled hearing, termed the attorney's decision as an unexpected turn of events. While the exact reasons for Baldwin and Rozzi's withdrawal remain undisclosed, it coincides with the revelation of the leak of crucial court documents from Baldwin's office. David R. Hennessy, representing Baldwin, stated in a memorandum that the three suspected disseminators had betrayed Baldwin, according to case-related documents that were security stored. Attorney Baldwin did nothing wrong. He was snookered and abused. I haven't heard the word snookered used in quite some. I don't think I've ever used the word snooker. Is that?
Yeah.
Isn't that a game?
Unless I'm making cookies, snickerdoodles.
It's
I don't know.
snickerdoodle. Isn't snooker like a game, though, that they play? Isn't like snooker something that's a Michigan game that they play, or is that something else?
I remember it being mentioned in Ted Lasso, but I'm not sure what the context was.
I think like people play snooker. When I lived there, I mean,
that
people were like, there's a snooker tournament, or it's something like that. Yeah, figure out what the hell game that is.
Yeah, it's a cue sport played on a rectangular billiards table covered with a green cloth.
Oh.
With 6 pockets, one at each corner and one in the middle along each side.
I got a snooker table for Christmas one year when I was a child when I wanted a pool table, because a pool table costs money, and like a little snooker table that you put in a card table, you know, you get it at the right place. It's probably $20. And I remember like almost as good as pool. Not quite. Anyway, he was snookered and abused, asserted Hennessy, emphasizing Baldwin's innocence in the leak. The recent development has cast uncertainty over the timeline of Allen's trial now. While a hearing is still scheduled for October 31st, Judge Gull expressed skepticism over retaining the original trial date of January 8th. That's almost certainly not going to happen. He's, quote, I don't believe counsel will be prepared within the next couple of months to try a case of this magnitude in January, she remarked. No, I mean, you're talking, you have less than 2 months to prepare for this. So that's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Adding another layer of complexity to the case, Allen had previously confessed to the murders during a prison phone call to his wife and mother. However, these confessions are now under a lot of scrutiny. Baldwin and Rozzi had earlier posed the theory, suggesting that the girls were ritualistically sacrificed by a racist pagan cult known as Odinists. They argued that Allen was monitored, intimidated, and mentally abused at Westville Correctional Facility by corrections officers who were members of this cult. The defense attorney further claimed that the cult might have targeted the girls due to a mixed-race relationship in their family. Nothing, quote, absolutely nothing links Richard Allen to Odinism or any religious cult, Baldwin and Rozzi emphasized in a September filing, changing the narrative of Allen's involvement with the cult. As the Delphi murder case continues to unravel with these new revelations, the quest, of course, for justice for Abby and Libby remains paramount. Defense attorneys' unexpected withdrawal and the looming evidence leak in the controversy, all eyes are now on the upcoming hearings and the direction this will take, and we just don't know where it will go at this moment in time. When you reset this and you put a whole, that's essentially what this is. It's like somebody went up to the Nintendo and pressed reset right when you were about to save the princess.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell did you just do? It's very much like that. It's going to reset everything. But is it going to be a true reset? Are they going to be able to get their save game data back? I don't know why I'm making references to Nintendo, but I am. But it's kind of like what this is. And do you even want that back with the arguments of Odinism? I've been saying for the last several weeks, this Odinist thing, in my opinion, I think it hurts Richard Allen because I think he looks pretty innocent without it. This Odinist stuff feels like such a fantastical story, and maybe there's a little bit to it. Maybe the guards wore patches, and they did. That's not even up for debate, but it doesn't mean that they were killing a child at random in the woods as part of a cult. It might just be some sort of, bullshit. Like, that looks cool, and then, I don't know, like a thing. What it feels like.
It was his attorneys that came up with this. Correct?
They did. And the thing is, there have been rumblings of this since the beginning. And that's where they came up with it. It wasn't just like, let's go find some fantastical thing after watching a Marvel movie and attach it to our case. There was rumblings about it early on. Some of the individuals involved in this, the guards and such, when you looked at the Facebook pages, they had Odinist, I don't know what the word would be, memes, things of that nature, images even that they had taken that are, show Odinist runes and such, very similar to what was allegedly found on the girls' bodies. And one would think, maybe you should look down that route. Maybe you should take a little closer look at these people if they're posting things on Facebook that seem to resemble a murder scene. I don't know. Not that horrible of an idea. But we'll see. And we'll see if that path can still go down. Is it too late to completely change directions here for Richard Allen? Because you have to assume the new attorneys, I don't know. I don't know that they're going to want to keep going down that road. What do you think?
I think he's been put in such a tough situation. Any attorney coming in is going to be at a disadvantage. This is going to take a tremendous amount of time to get up to speed, like you said. This is a clusterfuck. This qualifies as a clusterfuck. And I almost wonder, I mean, he is in such horrible physical condition. I almost wonder if they shouldn't just let him out, and not in the general public, but take him to a lesser secure system.
Take him to jail. You don't put someone in maximum security solitary confinement for a year on charges that have not been proven and who doesn't present himself as a danger to anyone in the prison. Their argument is, oh, well, he's in danger by the other prisoners. And you can logically make that argument to a certain extent.
Sure.
But at the same point, it doesn't mean, well, let's put him in the cage that we put, serial killers who are being disruptive and trying to kill other prisoners.
Exactly. They've been incredibly unfair to this man. And even if, let's say he did it, he hasn't been proven guilty yet. And he's already being treated as though he has.
Yeah. And that's the big problem.
Concerning.
If you believe in the justice system and you want truth and you want justice, you have to follow the rules of it. This is a prime example of where they're not being followed. There's several cases where you go, huh? Like, really? How are we doing this? There's another one that just came to mind that it just eluded me. But yeah, I mean, you have to follow the path of where it takes you. Another example, Alec Murdaugh, right there. If you want truth and justice, if in fact there was the claims that are accurate of the clerk of court tampering with the jury and trying to influence them, he needs a new trial, no matter how damn guilty he is. Even if there was a freaking video of him murdering his family, you would still have to do that because you can't do that to a jury.
Yeah.
So,
and that's not how our justice system is supposed to work in this country. So it's just really disgusting. And it lets people like you and I and our listeners sit there and wonder, well, could that ever happen to me? Yeah, it sure could.
Sure could. Without a doubt. Wrong place, wrong time. And they need a scapegoat, or they need to, find the answer because there's a public outcry of why haven't you figured out who murdered these girls for 5 years? Pressure gets on people, and people are humans and they're flawed. And sometimes you get the wrong ones in there that want to, be the hero, and they find a direction to go down that really can't be contested very well, but may not have a whole lot of real accuracy to it. They'll go down that road sometimes. And you could easily be the victim of it. And I wonder if Richard Allen is. I do also wonder if this is some almost a blessing in disguise. I know everybody's looking at this as being extremely negative for Richard Allen, which it may be. But I do wonder, because I've been saying that Odin is shit. How do you walk that back? Well, here is the way to walk it back. Give it more like another year for a trial. Stop talking about Odinism from a defense perspective. Get the new attorneys in there. Let that simmer down. Don't leak out what your defense is going to be. And certainly don't go down that road if you don't think that there's anything to it, because I don't think it's going to lead anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. Blessing in disguise for Richard Allen. Who knows? Time will tell.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.